Hello math students. In this lesson we are going to be looking at Metric Mania, and specifically we are going to be looking at how to convert between units in the metric system. Our learning target, as we just kind of talked about, is to learn how to convert or change from one unit to another between metric measurements. The metric system is basically just a system of measurements that is agreed upon in many countries throughout the world, most countries except for the US. Here in the US we still tend to use the standard system. The nice thing about the metric system is that it's base 10, so we can convert using multiples of 10 and powers of 10. There are three basic units of measurement in the metric system: meters, which measures length; liters, which measures volume, and that just basically means how much an object can hold inside of it; and grams, which is mass, or how heavy the object is. Just to give you a reference, here's a meter stick. The man is holding a meter stick. So 1 meter, which would be the standard unit, is from the bottom of the meter stick to the top where his hand is. 1 liter would be approximately the Coca-Cola bottle with the arrow pointing to it. That actually says it's a little bit more than a liter, but that's about as close as we could get. It's not as big as our typical 2-liter bottles, but it's bigger than the small 20-ounce. And then a reference for 1 gram, which is the standard unit, would be as heavy as a paper clip, a larger paper clip. So if each of those, meters, liters, and grams, is the basic unit, when we have larger or smaller objects than the basic unit, we just attach a prefix to the beginning of those words, and that helps us to determine the size of the measurement. To remember all of those different prefixes, we can use an acronym, and the acronym that you see here in this top box: King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. Each of the letters in that sentence helps us to remember the prefix that is attached to it. King is kilo, Henry is hecto, which is not very common, died is deca, also not very commonly used. Unusually just means the standard unit, so that's just meter, liter, gram without a prefix attached to it. Drinking is deci, chocolate is centi, and then milk is milli. And I want you to notice that the standard unit that we talked about, like the meter stick, the paper clip, and the 1-liter bottle of pop, that's the standard unit. As you move to the right in this chart, the units get smaller, and every time you jump over 1, they get 10 times smaller than the unit. But as you move to the left, the units get bigger, and every time you jump, they get bigger by 10 units. That's the nice thing about the metric system, is that it's all base 10, and it makes it really easy to convert because basically we just move the decimal. So here's the actual conversions, and I have a little bit different anchor chart because I think this one's a little easier to use. I know it's a little blurry here, but I think you can still follow it. So if we were to convert 1,000 milligrams to grams, there are 4 basic steps that we need to use. First, you determine your starting point. Then you determine where your ending point is. You count the jumps and you note the direction you're supposed to move, and then you just move the decimal. So here, since I'm going from 1,000 milligrams, I know that my starting point is here at milli. I'm going to go to grams because that's what it says that we are converting to. So I count the jumps and I note the direction. To go from milligrams to grams, I would start at milligrams and go 1, 2, 3. And since I went to the left, that means divide or move the decimal 3 places. So the decimal in 1,000, I'll rewrite it over here. The decimal comes at the end of the number, and I go move the decimal the same direction as I jumped, and the same number of places. 1, 2, 3. That gives me 1.000, or just 1 gram. 1,000 milligrams is the same thing as 1 gram. Here's another example. We are converting 1 liter to milliliters. We want to know how many milliliters are in 1 liter. Since liter is the unit, I know that my starting point is here, and I'm going to end at milliliters. So now I'm going to go from milliliters to liters, and I'll jump 1, 2, 3 jumps, and I went in the direction of multiplying. So I'll put my 1 here, and I know the decimal is at the end of the whole number, and I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3 in the same direction as this arrow multiply says. Put my decimal here, and now since I jumped past nothing 1, 2, 3 times, I will put those 3 zeros, and 1 liter is the same as 1,000 milliliters. This one says 160 centimeters to millimeters. So since my starting point is centi and my ending point is milli, I am going to jump only 1 time, and I went in the direction of multiply, so I'll write 160 here. I'll include the decimal at the end, and my 1 jump in the direction of multiply, which is to the right, tells me to move my decimal 1 place to the right, and since I bounced past nothing once, I will put only 1 0. 160 centimeters is equal to 1,600 millimeters. 14 kilometers to meters. So I'm starting here at kilo. I'm ending here at the unit, meters. There's no prefix on it, so that's just the unit. And I know that I'm going 1, 2, 3 jumps in the multiply direction. Here's 14. Put the decimal, and I went 1, 2, 3 jumps in the direction of multiply. Put my decimal at the end. 1, 2, 3 jumps past nothing. So that means that 14 kilometers is equal to 14,000 meters. And one more example, 250 meters. We want to know how many kilometers that is equivalent to. So meters has no prefix, so that's just the unit. That's where we'll start. Kilo is where we end. So I know that I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3 in the direction of divide because I went to the left, and I just look here at this arrow, it shows to the left. So I'll write 250. I'll include the decimal at the end of the number, and now I'll move that decimal 1, 2, 3 jumps, puts me right in front of this digit of 2, and so I'll put a leading 0, 0.25. 25 hundredths kilometers. I did not need to include that 0 on the end because it has no value. And that is how we convert between metric units. It is exactly the same process whether we are talking about meters, liters, or grams.